Use promo code TV and save 10% on any glass chair mat at Vitraza.com.
Republicans in Missouri are moving to punish local librarians and, in turn, the communities they serve in response to protests over a recent ban on some books. Roughly 300 books in all have been banned in at least 11 Missouri school districts after Republicans passed Senate Bill 775, which created, quote, criminal penalties for librarians and school officials that provide written or visual explicit sexual materials to children, even if those materials are books already in their library. Any librarian or school employee found in violation of that law could face up to a year in jail or a $2,000 fine. I mean, it's already illegal under both state and federal law in Missouri to provide obscene material to children. But opponents of this measure say it's led to hundreds of books ranging from The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison to The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood to the Children's Bible being pulled from shelves. They also say it's created a chilling effect among librarians who now have to contend with the possibility of jail time while doing their jobs. St. Louis Public Radio reports one librarian in the Wentzville, Missouri School District was visited twice by a police officer over complaints from parents. That librarian, who didn't want to be named over concerns for her safety, described the experiences as scary and surreal. The ACLU of Missouri, on behalf of two Missouri library associations with more than 1,000 members, filed a lawsuit requesting the court find Missouri's book ban unconstitutional and render it unenforceable. In response to those lawsuits, Missouri State House Republicans voted to advance a budget bill that would defund all of the state's public libraries by cutting the $4.5 million allocated by the governor for the state's libraries. Come on now. Joining us now, Missouri Democratic State Representative Peter Merideth. Also with us, Katie Earnhardt, the director of the Cape Girardeau Public Library in Missouri. Thank you both for being here. Representative Merideth, you're on the Missouri House Budget Committee. What was your reaction to this budget proposal that seeks to essentially defund libraries?
That's right. Even just hearing you talk about the facts right now, walk through the circumstances, it's hard to believe. And that's how we felt when it was first presented to us, when the budget chair presented his proposal that library funding be zeroed out. And then when we asked him why, he actually went so far as to explicitly say it was because of them suing over this book ban, and how dare they sue against a bill that the Missouri legislature passed that they believe is unconstitutional and has created a really big problem.
And Katie, help us understand why librarians in Missouri wanted to fight this state law, creating criminal penalties for workers like yourself. Criminal penalties for what the law says is distribution of sexually explicit material.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we are for Americans' First Amendment freedoms. We want to make sure that people have access to information. That's a core tenet of our profession, and we rely on that. And right now, that's in jeopardy, which puts our jobs in jeopardy, and that's something that is concerning for all people in this profession. And it's not happening just here in Missouri; it's across the country.
Mm-hmm. And to that point, Representative Meredith, this effort to cut the library's budget isn't just happening in Missouri. In Llano, Texas, this week, Republican commissioners walked back their threat to close 3 libraries over their opposition to a book ban that residents argued violated First Amendment rights. Why do you think Republican elected officials turn to defunding libraries when there's pushback over legislation restricting access to certain books?
Honestly, in places like this, they have what feels like absolute power to them, and they're appealing to the furthest right in their base. And so right now, they have decided somehow that libraries and teachers and schools are the bullies they want to call the enemy, and talk about brainwashing our kids. And, like this library thing, they can't point to a single example in Missouri of something inappropriate and obscene being given to a kid, but they're going to manufacture this problem to work up their base. And then the defunding the libraries just feels like the next step to them and how they exert power and punish them for exercising their First Amendment rights. It's straight out of a dystopian novel, in my opinion.
Right. Katie, the majority of Missouri's public libraries are in small and rural communities. Describe how a budget cut like this would impact libraries like your own in Cape Girardeau.
Yeah, Jonathan, we're set to lose roughly $26,000 with this cut for our upcoming budget year. That's money that we use for our collection development to buy the books that you see behind me. And for us, that makes up about 20% of our collection development budget. For us, it's only 2% of our overall budget, but for some libraries, it's a much larger percentage, a much larger impact that they're going to have to withstand. Some libraries are going to have to evaluate whether or not they stay open as many hours, whether or not they reduce services that they provide, very important services that they provide for their communities. And it's something that we don't want to have to worry about that. We already have shoestring budgets. And when we have that money taken away, even a little bit, it just makes our jobs that much harder to provide the needed resources and services that our communities rely on.
Yeah, libraries are more than just places where there are books. Libraries for many communities is the lifeblood of those communities, the center of those communities. Katie Earnhardt, Missouri State Representative Peter Merideth, thank you both very much for coming to The Last Word. When we come back, we're going to talk about what we saw this week in Tennessee. And we have a last-minute surprise guest. Tennessee Democratic State Representative Justin Jones will join us. That's next.
Introducing Astapro Allergy, now available without a